And this is a high school, Northwest Rankin High School. They are from Mississippi, and they're being sued for forcing students to attend a religious assembly. A high school in central Mississippi finds itself in court after allegedly holding a mandatory religious assembly earlier this month. According to the lawsuit, which was filed by the American Humanist Association this past Wednesday, students were given no advance notice about the nature of the assembly, but were told that attendance was required. It soon became clear, however, that a member of Pine Lake Baptist Church opened his presentation by talking about finding hope in Jesus Christ. The assembly allegedly warned students about premarital sex, pornography, and homosexuality. As the lawsuit detailed, the program included a video of 4 speakers explaining how their troubled lives had been saved by Christianity. The first speaker talked about their addiction to pornography. The second one talked about issues with their father. The third speaker talked about problems with his family, as well as promiscuity and suicide. And the first speaker said that he had a great family that introduced him to the church, but he did not think that he could measure up to Jesus Christ, so he sought hope in other things, including cars, clothes, and other guys. So in turn, each of the speakers explained how turning to Jesus Christ solved their problems and recommended that other people turn to Jesus Christ as well. And some students attempted to go to the library, another classroom, but were forced to attend the assembly, and this was held over the course of a week 3 times for 3 different grades. And of course, we all know that the Supreme Court ruled 50 years ago in Engel v. Vitale that school-led prayer is an unconstitutional infringement on the First Amendment's Establishment Clause, which was reaffirmed in '92 in the case Lee v. Weissman. Richard Fowler, your thoughts?
So wait a second. So let me get this straight. So the school had a condoned, I guess, assembly about why you should become a Christian.
Actually, yeah, absolutely. They were a public school.
Okay, I'm just confirming.
Yeah, that's what happened. They brought in an outside speaker from a Baptist church, a local church, and for whatever reason, I mean, clearly the school was complicit in some way because this person gave the assembly 3 different times over the course of a week. So it's not like, you know, they were surprised when it happened and they decided to end it. So now they're being sued as a result.
They're being sued?
They are.
By the parents?
I believe it is the parents, yeah.
I get that. I'm down with that. I mean, you know, how I see it, yeah, I mean, I think there's a clear separation between church and state. I mean, no matter what religion you are, I think in a public school...
I mean, if you're receiving public funds, you can't do this.
Well, yes and no. I think there's caveats to that. I mean, there really are legal caveats to that rule. Case in point, the school voucher program, which I don't agree with, but you can, if you get a school voucher, you can go to a parochial school, excuse me. And, you know, that could be a Catholic school or a Christian school or a Baptist school. And you can get those type of teachings. I hear that. I mean, I don't agree with vouchers at all, but I'm just putting it out there for the record, just to get the record straight. But I think in this particular situation, you know, I have to agree with the parents here, and I have to side with them and say that the school really, you know, that's something you really can't do. I think that what would have been a better option for the school legally was to have the assembly and you can volunteer to go. Then I think it's a different situation.
I disagree. I think that they shouldn't be holding any kind of assembly, voluntary or not, you know, on a religious basis. And if you're going to do that, then you really need to represent every religion and have an assembly for each of them.
I agree with that, but I mean, for example, I think one thing that I remember growing up as a child, one thing that we used to do is the meet me at the flagpole. So that, you know, one morning all the kids would go in front of the flagpole to pray and, you know, do the Jesus thing. I went there. I did a couple.
We did, yeah. I don't know. I think we just grew up in 2 different religious climates. You know.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not talking about my personal religious climate. I'm talking about like the actual like school. And our school had like a Bible club. I think every school I went to had a Bible club in middle school and high school.
Really?
Yeah.
It was public school.
Yeah, and it was as long as you had a teacher sponsor, you can just like you could have a Muslim club.
Interesting.
Teacher sponsor.
I didn't know that. To my knowledge, I don't believe there is one at my school. I think a lot of the more religious students tended to, you know, organize in youth groups, but it was outside of school-sanctioned clubs.
No, I mean, you could definitely have youth groups, but I think it's the same thing as, like, for example, where I live currently, you can only have a political club, like, you know, a Young Democrats or Young Republican clubs, you have a teacher sponsor. And then you're allowed to have that particular club.